I apologize. Let's try this again. Part dos of this. Let's see if we're able to make it happen. I'm gonna wait for some of you guys to come in here, share this. I think I fixed the issue. By the way, F Spectrum Internet, freaking terrible, man. It's terrible. I can't stand this company. I want to get rid of them. Unfortunately, I have no other choice. Being here in Southern California, I think the area that I'm in, I have to go with Spectrum, but they are not reliable. They're the least reliable internet company I've ever had. Um, and I've had a lot of companies for the internet. So I'm going to go ahead, just tweet this out to everybody. Hopefully the stream is safe, reliable. It's not lagging for you guys. Let me know. This is twice already that I've tried to do this. So I really hope the third time's a charm, because I'd be bummed out if I'm not able to do the stream. So go ahead and put in your guys' comments on the live chat. I'm gonna go ahead and let people know that we are live now. Finally fixed the internet. And yeah, we'll get going with your guys' questions, comments, whatever you guys want to talk about. Boom. Okay. Tweeted. Boom. Tweeted. Boom. Perfect. There we go. Oh my God. What a headache. What a headache, guys. What a freaking headache. God damn. Okay. Let's block it out. Arthur, what's up, bro? Crawford is no joke. I don't know if this is a good idea, but his team knows what they're doing. You don't think this is a good idea for Crawford, or you don't think this is a good idea for Manny Pacquiao? You got to understand, too, Manny's at the tail end of his career. So when a fighter's at the tail end of their career, they're looking for big payday fights, regardless if they think they're going to win or not. Obviously, when they go into camp, they start believing like, hey, you know what, maybe I can win this fight. But especially at this point, when a fighter's at the end, and Pacquiao certainly is at the end of his career. He's in the twilight, in the dawn of his fight career. He's not going to be fighting for much longer. At least we hope, because the longer he fights, the more chance there is that he can get hurt. You want those big money fights, because like, there goes your main source of income for the last 20 years. So, with that being said, him asking for $40 million to fight Terence Crawford, it makes sense given what I just said. In any fight, a fighter of his magnitude at this stage of his career, look, I don't want to say it's like a retirement package or like a severance package, but they know that they need to make as much money as possibly they can, even though Manny's set for life. Because after that, who knows, and might as well leave off on a fight where you've made a lot of money. So, when I heard the 40 million, I was surprised. Crawford, 10 million. Wow. That's a career payday for sure for Crawford. But you got to think, who's willing to shell out that money in order for it to happen? If they put that fight on pay-per-view, Manny, I do not know as of this time what his status is with PBC. I know before COVID, he had owed them one more fight, and that fight was going to be Errol Spence. That fight was supposed to happen in February of 2020. And, all this ish happened. So I don't know if the contract, they have to make a fight at a certain time or it becomes null and void. I'm not versed in that kind of stuff. The only other thing I could think of that could give but Manny and Terence, those types of purses, if that fight happens in the Middle East. I know that there's plans for Vegas to open up somewhere around March or May. I know they're hoping to get big fights. They're hoping to get Fury and Joshua there at the Allegiant Stadium. I don't know if they're going to get it, but obviously when I say they're hoping, Vegas is hoping. But for any of these fights. Saudi's going to come in. All those Middle Eastern countries are going to come in with very big purses that a lot of these places can't match because of the abundance of cash flow those countries have, and it's part of their MO to promote tourism in those countries. So it's a whole different ballgame when you have a whole country backing business deals as opposed to like a city. This is a whole country that wants something like that. So it remains to be seen. From what I read, Saudi, for them to get paid that much, the fight is gonna have to happen in Saudi Arabia to get that amount. So that answers your question, Arthur. NJAP, good so far. Yes. Yeah, dude, freaking headache. All you guys that are on here, bro, do me a big favor, bros. Press the like button, share the stream. Let's get some more people up in here. I know people that usually were tuning in at 5:35 because we do this every Monday at 5:35. Probably, we're like, what the heck? The stream is lagging, and they clicked off, and they probably thought that I was going to cancel the stream and not do it. So I apologize for that, man. I apologize for that, guys. Viking, what's up? The stream is great now. I can hear you and see you fine. Thank you. LJ, you're good. All right, good stuff. He needs major medical. Who does, Marcella? Who are you referring to? Who needs major medical? What are you talking about? Yair, what's up, bro? Yes, Spectrum, vale madre, dude, for sure. Puro mierda is freaking Spectrum, dog. Yeah. I'm going to get a headache again if I start thinking about it because I have this problem a lot with Spectrum. Shelton, what's up, bro? Yes, I'm back, dog. Marcella, Matisse was a gift. Yeah, but not Thurman. Broner wasn't either, Manny fought Broner and Thurman after that Matisse fight, I believe, So, we all thought, and we knew, Matisse was at the end of his career when he fought Manny, but Matisse could still crack. And we thought, hey, maybe he'll let his hands go and really put it on Manny. Nope. It was a disappointing performance for Lucas Matisse, but it shows you that there wasn't much left of him anymore when he went ahead and had that fight with Manny. I believe that fight was like in Singapore, right? It was a weird place to have a fight. Who is Ryan Garcia really fighting next? Says Heifer Guy hates. What kind of name is that, bro? Heifer Guy hates griefers. Cool. Interesting name. So, I don't know if you guys saw the interview. I'll go ahead and post the link up right now. Let me find it. Let me go into my YouTubes here to give you guys the link. Get share the link. So I ran into Oscar over the weekend. I was there covering the Jojo Diaz fight. And I asked him, like, hey, what's up with all this talk with Ryan and Manny? Is this fight going to happen? Is there any movement on it? And he told me, like, there's no movement. They don't know who to talk to. They're trying to get a hold of somebody in Manny's team that is a decision maker because they haven't got a hold of any decision makers, which I kind of find that odd. And you would think someone the stature of an Oscar would have Manny's number, seeing that he tried to sign Manny years ago. And yeah, I understand, you change phones, you change phone numbers, all that yada, yada, ish. But I wouldn't think somebody in his stratosphere, in his social sphere, would have a problem to try to get a hold of Manny. And maybe it could be different because Manny's a senator and there's different layers of not layers, but different, what do they call them? Roadblocks, people there that make it more difficult to get in contact with Manny. But I would think because boxing is so small, it's such a small community, guys. It's so small that he would know who to contact. Someone tweeted when I tweeted the interview out, and I'm going to tweet the interview where I talked to Oscar just right now. Go ahead and give it a watch after we're done with the stream, guys. Sean Gibbons, who is the head of MP Promotions, but he has a direct line to Manny. Obviously, you can go contact Sean. You could contact David. I have David's number, Manny's personal assistant. So I find it kind of odd when they're like, we don't know who to contact, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like in my mind, I'm like, well, all right. So he said, he doesn't. They don't know who's the right decision maker to contact. Nothing's been presented to them for this Pacquiao Ryan Garcia fight. He said it's just an Instagram thing. They're just hyping it up on Instagram, but it has no consequence whatsoever. There's zero movement. So Eddie Hearn did an interview with us over the weekend, and I'll send that link out to you guys right now too, in which Eddie kind of spilled the beans about, I think, what's going to happen next for both Ryan and Devin Haney. And talking to us, Eddie had mentioned that he had heard that Ryan is probably more than likely going to go into a fight with Javier Fortuna, and that Devin Haney more than likely is going to go into a fight with Jorge Linares. Here's that Eddie Hearn interview. Drop down the link right now in the chat box. Let's go ahead and help me out, guys. Get some more likes up in here. Hey, I'm not mad at those fights. I like those fights. Ryan versus Fortuna, it's a decent fight. Fortuna is a crafty veteran, can hit hard, but he's a blown up light guy. Like, he's a blown up featherweight. He came from the very, very lightweight classes. Linares versus Haney, I really like. I really, really like that fight. Both Linares and Haney have a lot of history together. Jorge told me this funny stuff. I thought it was funny. It's just funny that it shows you the balls that Devin had even back when he was a kid. Jorge told me one time that when he was in camp for his Krolla fight, I believe, Devin just randomly showed up to the gym and asked for sparring. And he asked Salas, because he was with Salas. And Jorge was like, yeah, sure, talk to Salas. And Salas said, yeah, get in here. And he told me, that, yeah, Devin came in as like a youngster, and Jorge was a world champion at that time. Went in there and sparred with him for 3 rounds. He told me that, he obviously Devin was still developing at that time. He's not the same fighter that he is now when he was back when he was like 16, 17. But, he said, he handled him pretty well. Got some great work from Devin. But I was just like, man, the balls on this kid as like a 16, 17-year-old to go show up to Jorge Linares' gym and ask him to spar to get some work, while he's a world champion preparing for that Crawler fight. That's some big. It's not baby nuts for sure, as Ruben Guerrero would say. It's definitely not baby nuts. So I'm thinking those are potentially the next 2 fights for Ryan and Devin. Even though this is the other thing that doesn't make sense. That Luke Campbell fight was supposed to be to fight Devin. That was like a mandatory fight. That was supposed to be the next fight. So I don't know why these other fights are being thrown around. To be honest, it doesn't make sense to me. All good in Australia, mate. Beating Crawford and Spence would make Manny the greatest ever. Johnny, what's up, my buddy? What's up, my man? Good day over there in Australia. Yeah, no, definitely. If Manny were, even though I don't think it's likely, both guys just in their primes right now. Stylistically, Crawford is a harder matchup, I think, for Manny, because Crawford does have the ability to counter and counter well. Errol is difficult as well because he throws a lot of punches. But the thing with Errol is he comes forward, and Manny's always done well with guys that come forward. If you look at Manny historically, he's done the best against guys that have gone towards him looking for a fight. Thing is, Manny's 42 or 41. He's been inactive, hasn't fought since September of 2019. That plays an effect, especially in a fighter that's older. For an older athlete to stay sharp, they got to be consistently on it, training, fighting to keep those reflexes sharp. And I remember Justin Fortune told me that the reason why Manny looked so good in that Thurman fight was because he had a fight with Broner, and then he had a fight before that as well. He was sharp. He was regularly training day in and day out. That's why he was able to look good, and they were keeping him sharp because of that. Obviously, none of us were expecting COVID to happen, and it threw a wrench in everybody's plans. But Manny hasn't had a fight since then, so it's it's really tough to see what can really happen there. You got an arrow that already fought. Danny Garcia looked terrific. It looked like he never left. Crawford just fought what's his face, Kell Brooks, and Manny hasn't fought in a while. So, but I agree. I agree to a certain extent. Obviously, Manny already, and Max Kellerman has gone into this, and he brought that example like perfectly when he said it. That, and I agree, because Manny does legit have an argument, even though a lot of people would disagree, because obviously he lost to Floyd, lost to Morales in his prime, even though he got that win back. But Manny does have a really good argument, given that he's a tiny, small guy, coming up from even the flyweight all the way up to what he got up to 154 pounds. As pound for, when you say pound for pound, that guy is the embodiment of pound for pound, given how many weight classes he moved up, given that just about everybody for the last 4 or 5 years has been bigger than Manny Pacquiao. He's been fighting bigger guys pretty much. So he does have an argument that he, pound for pound, the greatest fighter that ever lived. Obviously, it's subjective. It's all this is subjective. Even pound for pound talk is subjective to what you like, what you think, the thoughts and conclusions that you come to regarding the parameters that are important to you to dub somebody pound for pound or greatest fight ever. But obviously, if he is able to beat Spence and Crawford, oh my God, that'd be crazy for someone his age to be able to get wins like that, man. Henry, what's up, bro? Thank you so much. Henry, you know what? I got to really give a shout out to you, Henry. Each week, week in and week out, Henry here is always using our super chat, supporting the channel, always never missing these live chats. So, Henry, man, I really appreciate your support, bro. And anybody else, if you want to show some support, go ahead and smash that super chat, show some support to the channel, and I'll get to your questions right away. It's one of the benefits of using a super chat. Also, obviously, if we can get everybody to like the stream that's happening right now and share it to everybody as well. And if you're joining us for the first time, to subscribe and just overall, help support the channel and help us keep growing. On Instagram, we're almost at 100K followers, and that took a really long time to do and cultivate. So follow us on Instagram as well at no, that's me. I was going to give you my personal one. At Fight Up TV, and my personal one at Hey It's Marcos V. So back to Henry. Henry asks, do you think HBO Max will ever have all the past HBO fights, much like the WWE Network with the wrestling content? Do you have HBO Max, Marcos, with the sunglasses emoji? If they were smart, and if they had anybody in there that was smart, they would do that. Or they would license off their library to someone like a DAZN, because I would think someone like a DAZN would pay them big money to license that library of fights. And I'm very surprised that DAZN or Showtime didn't go after that library. I asked Steven Espinoza one time, I think at the Tank versus Leo fight, I'm like, why don't you guys go for that HBO library, man? Like, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, go for the international rights, the international library. And he's like, oh, wow, that's actually a good idea. If they were smart, they would do that. And I would pay to have HBO Max if they did include the HBO fights, the library, because that's, what was that, 35 years, 40 years of fights? No, 30, 37, 38 years worth of fights. I would totally pay for that. And they should totally do it. But I like I mentioned previously, all these freaking apps everywhere, it's annoying. I just want to have one place to have everything, which is why I still have dumbass cable. But that's another thing. JB, what's up, bro? Support, brother. Thank you, JB Cinema. Thanks for the content. Thank you for supporting, dog. Thank you so much. Like I mentioned, go ahead and use that super chat to go and support the channel, and just keep sharing our content, keep watching our content, bros. We put out a video over the weekend, man, and I think it's because of the holiday. It was just people weren't on YouTube. YouTube traffic's been down, but I put a compilation video of like the craziest press conference scuffles we've seen here on the channel. And it's part one. We're going to do a bunch of other ones, but I need every single one of you guys to share this link I'm about to drop, please, and watch it, because it's a really, really good watch. I sent it out to about 100 people, and they all said they loved it, that they got a kick out of it. A lot of the people that I sent it to were there with me. We witnessed these things happen at these press conferences, at these events of fighters getting into it, going back and forth. It really put a smile on their faces. This is the top press conference moments and scuffles we've seen in person. It's part one. So it's right here. That's just dropped the link. So please give that a watch. Give it a like. You guys help us out and share that so that everybody has a chance to see it, because it's really, really cool. And it's a really funny video. Let's go ahead and get some more likes up in here, guys. Let's get up to 50. Back to the comments. And I know I'm a little behind on the comments, but here we go, man. Let's go. I love Pac-Man, but I don't see how he doesn't get hurt against Crawford, says Efren. Yeah, that's why. Why do you think he wants 40 million? That's an amount that's like, hey, if I lose and something happens, well, at least I got 40 million out of it plus pay-per-view points. It's a hard fight because obviously Crawford is a highly intelligent, highly skilled fighter, could switch both stances, and he's a terrific counterpuncher, and he's a southpaw. Manny has faced counterpunchers, hasn't had the best success against them. Those tend to give him a little bit trouble in there. But a counterpuncher that is smart like Crawford, long like Crawford, who's able to switch it up, and who's a southpaw. Manny hasn't faced a lot of southpaws, though. Manny's faced literally just about every style. He's had over 70 fights, which is nuts. He's the only guy in boxing history to have been a world champion in 3 decades. He's fought for 30 years already, which is insane when you think about it. So he's seen everything, but I don't think he's seen all that in one fighter, like a Terence. Obviously, you're like, well, what about Floyd? Floyd is like, one of the greatest like ever. True. Very, very true. But there's things that Crawford does that I don't think Floyd could even do, like such as the switch hitting. And I think Crawford has a longer reach. So that's a really, really bad matchup, I believe, for Manny. And it just shows you the fighter that really Manny is. Honestly, he's a throwback fighter. And you don't see guys in their 40s wanting to fight guys in their 20s. It's kind of nuts, to be honest. A guy like Manny wanting to get that sort of challenge. And even with the Ryan fight, man, a lot of people think that Manny would just blow away Ryan Garcia, that it's too early for Ryan, but that's a dangerous fight, man. You got a young, hungry guy who's fast. I think Manny in his prime was a lot faster than Ryan, but he's fast and he can hit hard, man. And he's bigger than Manny, and Manny hasn't been active. This kid has been active, You have a guy that could be, that's funny. Manny could be Ryan's dad, to be honest. The age difference, he's 20 years older than him. His willingness to go in there and fight someone like that, it just shows you that he's a throwback, dude. He's from a different cloth. He comes from a different, he comes from the generation of a Barrera, Marquez, Morales. Those guys were in it, mixing in with it. He's the last of the Mohicans, man. Honestly, he is. He's the last of the Mohicans when it comes to the stuff that he's done, the people that he's fought, and the type of character he's shown for his fight career, because he said a lot of dumb stuff outside in terms of his attitudes towards people's sexual orientations. But in terms of the fighting, man, it's to be admired, and I think that's an example for the younger fighters to follow as well. It's a win-win for Manny. If Crawford beats him, Crawford goes on and beats Spence, he will look better either way. No, I agree. Hey, 40 million in the bank. That's 40 million more in the bank if he's able to get that, No, my chat resetted. Yo, hold up. I'm going to go up and see if I can get some of the earlier questions that you guys had. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Oh, wow. I'm behind on all these chats. Sorry about that, guys. Good, you're back. I was just about to start watching Adriana just for the heck of it. That whole ESPN card was lit, no cap. I didn't see the ESPN card. I was in India watching, covering the JoJo fight. Saludos, Fight Hub and chat. 40 million for Pac versus Bud sounds like an expensive pay-per-view for us fans. No, it'll be a regular price pay-per-view. They're not going to go above. The reason why the 40 million is because that's Saudi money. That's that oil money. That's why. Steve, what's up, fool? What up, bro? Texas is closed today because of the snow. Yeah, I heard it's snowing over there in Texas, which is crazy. Texas weather is really erratic, huh? Pacquiao versus Porter is next. I'm not too sure about that. Maybe not. I heard, Porter reached out to Kenny Porter reached out to Aram about making that fight with Crawford. Yo, Henry, what's up, bro? Henry with another super chat question. Let's get 8 more likes up in here, guys. Share the stream also. Get other people to join in. Can you break down a dream fight between Mayweather and Crawford? Do you think other top welterweights are afraid of fighting Terence Crawford? Thoughts? Let me get to that second part. Do I think other top welterweights are afraid of fighting Terence Crawford? No. I don't think they are because at the end of the day, they're fighters. They've been doing this their whole life. I don't think they're afraid to fight other fighters. I think it's a reason of the business of boxing. It's easier to make fights with your in-house fighters. You keep all the profit. The profit's not split, and it's a more profitable enterprise for you, which is why we're seeing this, and it could rub off the wrong way to fans, and they could attribute it like, hey, a guy's scared to fight this guy. Why didn't he fight this guy? Because there's no need. There's no need. There hasn't been a need for the PBC welterweights to fight Terence over the last few years because they had very enticing matchups between all of them. And just so happened, out of the 5 top welterweights, they had 4 of them. So, they pretty much made all the matches they can make with those guys. The only one missing, obviously, is Spence and Thurman. But Spence has said in interviews that he doesn't want to give that fight to Thurman. There's a lot of bad blood there, apparently. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. He said that Thurman just rubs him off the wrong way. But that's a reason from the business of boxing. That's, and I've said this in past live chats. I don't think fighters are afraid to fight any guy because this is what they do. This is what they've known their whole entire life, Now back to Mayweather and Crawford, a dream fight between those guys. It would have been tough, man. It would have been a tough fight for Floyd. That's how much high regard I have for Terence Crawford. Extremely intelligent guy. He's able to switch hit, counter puncher. It would have been a slowish type fight, man. And I think there might have been some pressure on Terence to bring the fight because Floyd was just a master at having you come to him, and also he was content. Hey, if you're going to stand here, I'm not going to go to you. He would wait for he would break people mentally. In there, it would have been tough. It would have been tough for both. Man, I don't know. How do you guys see that fight? Start asking over here on the comments section. I think it would have been like a split decision fight, to be honest, man. That's how much I hold Terence in regard. And, the only thing is, if Floyd chose to be offensive in that fight, it might have done well for him. I think Floyd had a better jab, could let his hands go better, but yeah, I don't know. Obviously, my money would be on Floyd just because it's Floyd, but and you're right, Jules. Floyd wouldn't engage. That's what I'm saying. Crawford, and that's half the battle. Okay, Crawford starts coming forward. That kind of throws Crawford off his game plan, and that's when Floyd could start picking the person apart. He'll run, put us to sleep, and collect the check. We suckers again, says Jules. I would have loved to have seen it, to be honest, just to see how someone at that high level would approach a fight like that and how they would fight and approach a fight against Floyd like that. Keith had a short run at the top. Crawford beats Floyd. If he chooses to engage, he gets knocked out. Nah, I don't think he gets knocked out. When's the last time we saw Floyd knock somebody out in his last few fights? So McGregor doesn't count. He wasn't a pro boxer. We haven't seen enough of Crawford against elite opposition to know how he would do against Floyd. True. Hopefully that changes. And we see these other fights. We see Crawford and Porter, we see Crawford and Danny, we see Crawford and Thurman, and we see Crawford and Spence. But he did an interview over the weekend, which was kind of bummed out, where he's like, I don't care. If I don't fight Spence, I don't care. And I'm like, no. Why? Why boxing? Why does boxing do this to us? It's a bummer. As long as Crawford doesn't fight at Mayweather's pace, he can stand a chance. I feel like boxers always fight at Mayweather's pace. His rhythm, that's the thing. But he'll lull you into his rhythm. That's the thing. He's content in staying there because he knows that at some point you're going to break and you're going to come forward, and that's when he starts picking you apart. That's when you start fighting his game, his rhythm. Do you think we are ever going to see the fights we want and finally stop worrying at any point about fighters being from certain promotion or certain TV channels? No, I don't think so. It's just how the business is at this point. The only way to get around from that now is if the fighters demand. If the fighters really want to fight, they'll make the fight happen. If there's enough money at stake, they'll make the fight happen. But at this point, it's so fragmented that it makes it tougher. And I don't see it getting better, to be honest. Pacquiao's the last of the old school era. I agree, bro. He's a man's man, just built different. 30 years and counting, but he feels his journey is just starting. We feel different, but he doesn't care what you think. Yeah, that's true. I just don't want to see Manny get hurt, to be honest, Everybody has a number. Everybody has a time. Age catches up to you at some point, and it's a young man's sport. And, it's live by the sword, die by the sword. It already happened to Manny once with his knockout loss to Marquez. And, the older you get, it's a danger. I just don't want to see Manny get hurt, man, to be honest, Every fighter has a certain amount of punches they can take before there's long-lasting damage. Unless you're like a freak like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., where, he had a thicker than normal cranium, a thicker than normal bone density around his skull. I would hate to see something happen to Manny, which is, I've made it public, and I've said this now. I retire off that Thurman win. I mean, it's focus on his political aspirations and other things. He does such great things for his countrymen and is for his people. I've seen him do those charitable things in person when he's here in LA, like giving out money to people. And I remember in that prep for the Thurman fight, I had a chance to see him in camp, and he pretty much said, the reason why he still fights is because he wants money to help people out, and that's very noble of him. Not a lot of people would do that or want to do that for selfless purposes. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, this is a young man's game. You live by the sword, die by the sword. It's going to happen eventually. And I hate to see something along the lines of what happened to Ali happen to Manny because he stayed longer than what he should. And hey, if this Crawford fight is going to be the last fight, and that's why he's asking for the $40 million, well, at least he's going to get $40 million out of that. But I do worry. I don't want to see anything happening. Teo leaving Bob. I was supposed to speak to Bob. I'm trying to schedule this thing out with Top Rank. I've been hounding Top Rank over the weekend. Hopefully I get Bob tomorrow, and I'm going to ask him. So let me know what questions you'd want me to ask Bob, because I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to ask him about Manny and Crawford, Porter and Crawford, and a bunch of other stuff. Crawford brings only Nebraska. Pac brings the whole world. Crawford, luckily, he's even getting $10 million. Yeah, it's because the fight, I think, is going to Saudi. Is the Fox contract with the PBC ending this month? Not that I've heard of, to be honest. I heard that when they first signed, it was a 3-year deal with a 1-year option. So it's been 3 years. So this could be the last year. And if they don't option it out, it's going to be interesting to see what other network, what other station PBC puts the programming. Obviously, I have a vested interest in that because I'm employed by Fox. Contrary to what people believe, I'm not employed by PBC. PBC doesn't write my checks. PBC doesn't tell me what to say, what not to say. I'm employed by Fox. I'm a Fox freelance employee. So yeah, I want them to stay on Fox. I want them to sign that extension. But yeah, it was a 3-year deal with a 1-year option, and this is the 3rd year. So let's see what happens. It's an interesting time right now because of COVID, and it's messed up a lot of freaking things with live gates, with fights that were supposed to happen, with fights they can do, with budgets. Everybody took a loss last year. Everybody, and this year things might not get normal for boxing up until the later in the year, though. With people saying that California is going to allow fights for the public again at some point in the middle of this year. Nevada allowing fights for the public again some point in the middle of the year. Same with Florida. You're seeing, okay, now it's going to make fiscal sense for these promoters to put on some of these fights they've kind of been having on the back burner because the live gates make a big chunk of profit for the promoters. Obviously, so does the pay-per-view buys, but that's the live gate is a big chunk of what these promoters can make. So we'll see what happens with all of that. I just hope that with the states opening up that we get the fights that we were supposed to get last year. Henry, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Henry already used the super chat 3 times already. Let's get 50 more likes, people. Let's share the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on social media at FightUpTV. Give my personal follow as well at Hey It's Marcos V. Henry, true or false? Tyson Fury fights Anthony Joshua in 2021. Canelo becomes undisputed at 168 pounds in 2021. Tyson versus Holyfield 3 happens in 2021. Those things are all plausibly true. This Fury-Joshua fight is very close to being signed, and I see it happening, even though I don't know if it's going to happen in the UK or if it's going to happen in Saudi, but they're very close. Canelo becoming undisputed, obviously that's his goal, but, I know no one expects Yildirim to beat him, but he has Yildirim. Anything can happen. We've seen it with Tyson and Buster Douglas. We've seen it with countless other fights. We saw it this weekend with that Mexican kid, Mauricio Lara, knocking out Josh Warrington. You can never underestimate your opponent. But even if Canelo beats Yildirim, he has a really hard fight in Billy Joe Saunders, and then an even harder fight in Caleb Plant. Those are live opponents in there for him. So he has a hard road to get to undisputed, though he's going to be the favorite in all 3 of those fights. And I think a majority of the boxing fans feel that he's going to win and beat those guys in those 3 fights. So yes, it's very plausible that Canelo becomes undisputed in 2021. Tyson and Holyfield 3. Holyfield did an interview, said that they're in talks. Given the success of Tyson versus Jones, dude, Tyson versus Roy Jones, everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody laughed at me and thought I was nuts. I told them this pay-per-view is going to do over 1 million buys, and it's going to do big business. And I kind of, went out on a limb and said it's going to be close to the best-selling pay-per-view of all time, and then I retracted. I'm like, nah. But it's going to do really, really well. It'll do over 1 million. People are like, you crazy? Over 1 million? You're nuts. People aren't going to buy this. And I'm like, you guys don't understand. Like, the interest in this fight. It's Mike Tyson. That Mike Tyson pay-per-view did 2 million buys. What the? Like, we don't get those types of pay-per-views anymore. The 2 million buys. Tyson Holyfield 3 will do as much, if not more, because people want to see that fight happen again. It's big business. At the end of the day, this business is all about money. It's all about the bucks, man. And if you can make a ton of money for a fight, you bet your butt they're going to go ahead and make it. And seeing the success that Triller had with this fight with Ben Askren and Jake Paul is going to do huge numbers as well. There's a ton of interest in this fight. I want to see it. And I'm not a fan of how the YouTubers have presented themselves. I have a lot of respect for Logan. I have a ton of respect for Jake. now even more with the more people that I talk to, that he's actually taking this serious. He's actually going into training camps. He's actually sparring with real people. He's actually putting the time. I have respect for him for doing that. I'm really interested to see what happens in this Askren versus Jake Paul fight. A lot of you guys disagree with me, like, nah, F that pendejo, like, what the hell? But hey, man, at the end of the day, he's putting in the work. He's putting in the work in there to get in there, and he's getting in there with a real fighter. Yeah, I understand he's not a boxer. Yes, we know he's an MMA fighter. But look, guys, this guy was a world champion in MMA in 2 other organizations. Okay, NCAA champion in wrestling, world class in wrestling. He's a world class athlete. He fought Robbie Lawler in 4-ounce gloves, and yes, he was close to being knocked out, but he didn't put him out. Not until he got slammed on the ground and started punching him. He ended up recovering for that. There's no way in hell Jake Paul hits harder than Robbie Lawler. And other people are like, oh, he's going to knock him out. No way in hell Jake Paul hits harder than – you nuts? You crazy? Robbie Lawler? Come on. No way. That's why I like Askren in the fight with 4-ounce freaking gloves. But I kind of went up on a tangent there, Henry. All right, let's get back to the question. Oh, yeah. Yair, I got to talk to you about that gift, bro. I kind of got lost with that. So me and Yair obviously helps out with us over here on Fight Hub. I'll figure out the GIF and we'll tell you what he's referring to with the Giphy of the Fight Hub GIF. Ugas isn't a real name. What are you talking about, bro? Ugas is world champion at WBA. Yes, it did, Yoel, sell 2 million buys. It sold 2 million pay-per-views. That's a lot given this climate. And that shows you how big of a star Michael Tyson is. Richard Lamone, what's up, bro? Thank you for the super chat, dog. Let's see here. Oh, bro, really? Hypothetical fight. Landy Lara versus Floyd at 154 after Floyd beat Canelo. How do you see the fight? Boring. That would have been a really bad fight because Lara doesn't engage. But it could have been something like the Marquez fight, because Marquez was a counterpuncher and Floyd forced him to go after him. Box Talk, I'm going to get to your question right now, bro. I wouldn't have liked to have seen it, to be honest. Though lately, Lara has been a lot more of a entertaining fighter, but back then, vale madre, man. Nah, that would have been snooze fest 2020. That would have done 200,000 freaking pay-per-views, man. That would have been a stinker of a fight. Box Talk, what's up, homie? Box Talk 101. Let's get some more likes up in here, Box Talk. Everybody, man, share the stream, guys. Support. Sorry about earlier. Tried to do the stream twice, and it wasn't working out. Follow us on social media as well. Sorry if I'm a little tired, guys. I don't know. I had caffeine for the first time, and I think I'm having like a caffeine crash from it. Box Talk 101. Marcos, I thought the UK fighters would be safe staying in the UK, but now after Warrington, I have to ask, are they safe anywhere? What do you mean, bro? Are they safe anywhere? Dude, hey, man. No one expected this to happen to Warrington, you know? No one knew that Lara had that in him. Yes, Warrington's competition hadn't been good. He vacated the IBF belt. But he hadn't fought anybody tested, but we didn't think this guy was going to test him either, you know? And yeah, they brought him over to the UK as an opponent, as someone that we all thought that Warrington would just smash. You know, it was kind of like a fight to build his profile, to get him back in there because he hadn't fought for so long. But I tell people all the time, man, these Mexican fighters, even the ones with like, not the most stellar records, are tough dudes. They're deceiving. And I always tell young prospects too, when they go to Mexico, like, be careful with these guys in Mexico. The guys that are like 14-8, you know, I'm like, always look at their knockout records and always look at the guys they've lost to. You know, they're not easy fights. These guys are hard because they've been in there with with really, really tough elite guys. And they have a ton of experience. So no one expected this to happen to Warrington. But, hey, a fight's at the end of the day, man, honestly, at the end of the day, a fight's a fight, bro. A fight's a fight, regardless of if they're fighting in the UK, if they're fighting here in the US, if they're fighting on a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, they're fighting on the moon. Fight's a fight, bro. It doesn't matter where they're at. I know you're referencing to the judges, and I think there was a fight that happened before that the judges were just freaking atrocious in the score. And Eddie said, like, hey, how are we going to bring fighters over here if they can't get a fair shake? True. That's where you need to put pressure on the BBBC, the British Boxing Board of Control, for better training of the judges, to get reprimanded for bad scorecards, for them to get audited. That doesn't happen here in the United States as much as we would like. There's been terrible freaking scorecards last year in Nevada and California. Just terrible. Like, what the hell are you guys watching? Like, I watch this stuff for Fox on TV, and I'm even perplexed. I'm like, I don't understand how some of these judges, the reasoning behind, and I see why they score certain rounds for guys. Like, I understand for the most part why they would score. Now, I don't agree with them, because I think the jabs in general aren't seen to them as damaging, and the judges are scoring on the damage you do to the other opponent, because at the end of the day, the point of a fight is to hurt your opponent. So, effective punching, aka, is punches that hurt your opponent. That's what effective punching is punches that do damage to your opponent. So if you're looking at a jab as opposed to a straight, they're going to prefer the straight. The straight's going to weigh on their mind more, that it did more damage than the jab, unless the jab is really knocking the guy's head back, and you see sweat coming off. But the thing with the UK fighters, obviously the top two heavyweights in the world are UK fighters. It's such a big fan base at times over there that, like, there's no point for them to come over here for fights, and they're able to, like, it's like they live in their own little world, but at some points, like, financially, it doesn't make sense for them to come over here. Like, why? They're doing well over there. Just bring people over there. Comey looked good. I didn't see Comey's fight. I wasn't able to see any of the ESPN fights. I think I have them recorded, so I'm looking forward to seeing those fights in there. Someone's saying that Andrade's a crybaby. He beat Warrington. It doesn't matter. Very true. Glad Pacquiao fight Ryan. That stuff is murder. What are they thinking? Jules, you think Pac-Man beats Ryan, or you think Ryan beats Pac-Man? Canelo KOs Andrade, says Johnny Patrick. I think Canelo would counter Andrade off his jab. Oh, okay, you guys get into it with Andrade and Canelo. Okay, Matt, what's up? Canelo GG, first fight was Canelo's moment, and he tied. I thought Triple G won that first fight. Or the Floyd fight, he lost. Besides those, nobody outside of Mexico is watching his fights. That's not true, bro. Everybody in Mexico watches Canelo's fights, dog. His fights are free in Mexico. They're on, like, national television. I was born. Futuros periodistas deportes de combate. I said that really bad in Spanish. Let me say that again. ¿Tienes consejos para futuros periodistas de deportes de combate? Yeah, I do. I hope you understand English, Ricardo. Because my Spanish is terrible. What round Virgil knock out Hooker? If he does 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there. You know what? Actually, maybe even earlier. Maybe like 4. I got you, Ricardo. I got you. Hold on. I got to get some agua. In Box Talk, I'll get to you. Don't erase that super chat. Let me. Oh, perfect. Ricardo understands English. Okay, bro. For any journalist, aspiring journalist, because Ricardo asked, hey, do you have any advice for future journalists, sports journalists, or journalists that are going to go into sports? Go to school. Go to school for it. Learn. No, is it lagging again? Are you kidding me, bro? No, tell me it's not lagging again. Someone give me an update right now, dog. Is this lagging again or not? No, I'm not seeing a lagging. Usually YouTube will give me a lagging warning, but I'm not seeing you guys comment. JB, where you at, bro? Let me know. Give me the info. I can't see this in live. Summer, you good. Efren, you good. I had to re-click. It was a little small lag. Oh, good. Okay, all right. Oh, God. I was about to smash this laptop again. Jesus. Okay. All right, Ricardo. Advice for future journalists, young journalists in sports. Go to school. Go to school for it. Learn what it is to be a journalist. I didn't go to school initially to get a BA in journalism, but once I fell into this work, I went back to my local community college and took a ton of journalism courses. It taught me to be objective, taught me the do's and don'ts of everything. It gives you a good framework of what to do, what not to do, how to approach a certain situation, how to stay fair with your interview subjects, and it gives you structure as to how to structure, how to do stories. It makes you well-rounded. Go to school for it. Don't just, try to do it, because I see a lot of people just show up, they're fans, they try to do this, and they're extremely biased. And that's really bad, because it makes everybody that's in this space look that much more bad. And you got these people out there too that spout false narratives and conspiracy theories and all this stuff. And it's just, I'm not even saying in boxing, I'm saying in general, all this fake news stuff that's out, and people don't know what to believe, what not to believe. So that would be my advice. Also, you have to be very observant. You got to have good instincts when it comes to that as well. You got to be able to read body language of your subject really well to know, like, if they're comfortable, if they're open. You got to look at little things like that also as well. Jojo missing weight was sad, dog. WTF? Yeah, it was. I was speaking to Jojo. Give him a call and see really what happened. But he said that he's had a lot of things that happened during camp. Would you consider so-and-so a real journalist? Looks like he just grabbed a camera and started talking to everyone. No. He won an Emmy. My thing is this. I don't know what happened. I think it got to a point where he was like, you know what, I'm going to cross this line and be, approach things a certain way to get access. I remember I had a conversation with this about him one time, very, very early on. And I always tell people this, and I'm not afraid to say it. Ellie helped me out in the beginning, and we just kind of went astray due to, certain things. But, he helped me out in the beginning. And I've said it to people, I've always felt grateful that he did help me out in the beginning, and he was nice to me in the beginning. Obviously, with the growth of this channel, you get to a point where, you get viewed different and people treat you different. It's all good when you're on the come up, because no one thinks of you as anything. You're like, oh, this guy, he's not a threat, or anything like that. I don't think anybody is a threat really to anybody, to be honest. But at some point, I think it got to a point where it's like access over being non the way he is, and I think he chose access. No, Hank, not at all, because I went to school, with that, Guru 0509, what's up, man? This better not be Mr. Boxing Girl, because it is mis huevos way. Mis huevos. Lomo getting no respect despite the loss to Teofimo Lopez. I'd bet $100 that he would beat Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. People anointing boxers with no resume, it's BS. Let's see here. The only thing that popped into my mind when I read that, bro, is that Lomachenko is a bit older, okay? So you got to think, he's already, 32, 33 at this point, so he's getting older. The legs, 32-year-old legs, You know, these guys are young. They're hungry. They can go at a longer pace than him. Yes, you know, he's a superb technician, and he shouldn't be counted out for one loss against Teofimo Lopez, a fight where he claims he was injured, which he was. He got surgery. He was injured, but so was Teo. You know, you can't take anything away from Teo. Teo beat him fair and square. They're both injured. You know, but I think it's a disservice to just completely count out Vasily Lomachenko, given the skills that he possesses and what he's achieved. But we'll see. Someone mentioned Nakatani. That's not an easy fight, man. That's not. You saw Nakatani upset upset Verdejo a few months back. Nakatani had not a tremendous fight, but you know, he gave Teofimo problems. He made him look bad in there. You know, so we'll see what happens. I don't want to write off Lomachenko yet, but you know, the age part could be a concern. Okay, let's see what happens. Box Talk, what's up? That's why I F with you, bro, because you acknowledge us little channels. I don't know why those other guys feel so threatened. Bro, this whole... Oh, man. Dude, I could go on and on about this digital space, bro. The boxing part, the boxing YouTube part, bro. Just a lot of just... Man. What's up? Yo, Kirby, what up, bro? That's my bro, Kirby. Hey, if you guys need any fitness equipment, kettlebells, weights, hit up my bro, Kirby. He got you. He'll give you a good deal. Kirby, put in your link there, bro, for people to go and get like their fitness stuff. The gyms are still closed out here in California, or at least in LA. So hit up my boy, Kirby, bro. Help him out. Back to, you know, the boxing YouTube stuff. Nobody gets along with anybody. And I've concluded it's a few things. I've concluded it's part of what you said, Box Talk, the whole threaten, but it's really about money. Money, ego, and people feeling that they are entitled to get everything in terms of stuff. You know, they think that there's not enough for everybody when there is. You know, this YouTube thing, it may seem like a competition with all the outlets, but it really isn't. It's really you against you. You're creating your own content. So who's your competition? Yourself. You have to challenge yourself to be creative, to create new content. You know, that's all I really would care to say right now about the stuff, about this space. You know, every other YouTube community, they're very collaborative. Everybody supports everybody. Not in this space. Everybody hates on everybody. Everybody's against everybody. Everybody's always beefing. You know, it is what it is. There's a lot of ego involved when there shouldn't be. People get greedy also as well. So, yeah, I'll just leave it at that, bro. There's Kirby. Yeah, email Kirby. You guys were all on that with the UK guy. Yeah, and I got a lot of ish for being on that interview with Coogan. And I knew the moment he said that, and the moment Raheem and Michelle said what they said, in my mind, I was like, oh, my God. This is not gonna be good. And I completely disagreed with what they were saying. I shut up for a reason. I didn't say anything. And yeah, I should have said something, but I didn't want to interrupt what they were saying as well. You know, I wanted to see what was the point that they were making. But I don't share that belief. What they were saying, you know, and I know I got a lot of flack for even being in that interview from people. I got attacked, you know, not as much as Michelle and Raheem, but I got attacked, you know. Don't find the interview, Braden. I regret doing it, even though it wasn't what, you know, I stayed quiet when they were going off on that subject, you know, because I didn't agree with what they were saying, but I wanted to see where they were going with that. Box Talk, thank you, bro. Keep throwing money at us. Everybody keep throwing money at us. Keep using that super chat, doggies, please. Holy crap, it's 7 o'clock. I know we start this at 5:35, but we had problems here, so I'm gonna go and stay a little bit longer than usual. I want to work out, dude. I ate like a pig this weekend for Valentine's Day, man. Treating my girl with a nice little lobster tail, grilled up lobster, dude. Lobster tail is delicious. Oh my god, and it's not that difficult to make lobster tail, man. It only takes like about 15 minutes to make delicious lobster tail. It's great stuff. So if you can get some lobster tail from Costco, I know they sell them for like 30, 35 bucks for like 4 lobster tails. Do it, man. It's you got to marinate it with butter, parsley, spices, and all that. But yeah, Manny 40 million call it is ridiculous. No, it's not. If the fight's in Saudi, not at all. Marcos, you call me Marcos Farrellhand? Come on, bro. Triple G's handshake was the equivalent of like a 220-pound guy, bro. And I used to have like a really because I wrestled, wrestlers are known to have really strong grips. So, obviously I haven't wrestled in freaking like 15, 20 years. But it was decent back in the now. It's puny. It's terrible now. But I didn't think he was gonna freaking crush my hand the way he did, and I was not faking it. That was my legit reaction. Gennady was like, come on, Marcos. Like, oh, that's all you got, bro? And I was like, all right, I'm going to try a little bit more and just crush. And I was like, holy Jesus, man. What in the hell? So, yeah, that wasn't an exaggeration what he was doing. All right, I'm going to keep doing this. Box Top, I'm just going to keep throwing money at you. Thank you. JB Cinema, what's up? You doing round for Valdez versus Burchell? How is this going to work? There's 2 fights this weekend, man. There's Broner, and then there's the Valdez and Burchell fight. Obviously, I think the boxing people, we're all interested in this Valdez-Burchell fight because we know that the fight's going to be a shootout. These guys are going to go and beat the crap out of each other in there, and someone's going to end up getting knocked out. The Broner fight, it's Broner. He has a name, but who's the guy that he's fighting? No one really knows who this guy is. Michelle Rivera was thrown out there, and they couldn't make that fight. That would have been a great fight, and I could have seen Rivera maybe getting the upset in that fight if it were to happen. But now we have this. Hire me, bro. Where are you at, Box Talk? Send us a message. We're always looking for talent, bro. We're always looking for good people, guys. So if you guys are videographers, you guys do interviews, have done interviews, you guys graphic artists, social media experts, live stream experts, reach out to us on Instagram, man. We're always on the lookout for good talent. Channel's tight. Thank you, Matt. Fantasy fight. Who wins? Manny Pacquiao against Sugar Ray Leonard. I can mow yards. Well, get a hold of my landlord. Tell him you can mow my lawn, bro. I don't discriminate. Manny Pacquiao, Sugar Ray Leonard. I think Ray would have outboxed Manny, but it would have been a very, very difficult fight for Ray just because of the pressure. But I don't think Ray would have fought Manny the way he fought Duran. He would have boxed Manny, and if he would have boxed Manny the way he boxed Duran in the second fight, it would have been the same result, to be honest. YouTubers should have their own belt. They have no business fighting pros. Hey, man, like I said, Jake's putting the time in. He's putting the time in. He's sparring with real fighters, even though, they are taking it a little easy on him. But, hey, he's putting the time in. Marco, you need a financial advisor? I got you. Is your name Al? Is your name Al Heyman? Triple Yi versus Hagler. That would have been a knockout. People have compared Triple G to Hagler because of his style. Hagler was relentless. Gennady in his prime was relentless. Both big punchers. That would have been a tremendous fight. I don't know, man. You guys are going to be like, what do you mean you don't know? It's Hagler. I think sometimes because these guys are in such like a mythical category, we kind of are not very biased when it comes to matching them up with people. My whole thing, and I always say this, the athletes now are better, bigger, stronger, faster than the athletes 10 years ago, even more so than the athletes 20 years ago. 30 years ago. Yes, at the end of the day, fighting is fighting, but that all plays a big role in fighting. Picking Joshua or Tyson? I'm picking Fury. Jake needs to fight a real fighter, Andre Ward. Bro, come on. Come on, dog. Come on. They do when they have business, they got money. I'm not sure what you're saying there, RC. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. Oh, look who it is. Look who it is. Thank you, babes. Thank you. This is so embarrassing. Hi. I got your text. I have asparagus left. Sorry, I didn't get to you because I'm doing this. What's up, Viking? Micah, you are late, bro. What the hell? You're about like an hour and a half late. That's all right. I had to reset the live stream like twice because the internet was acting up over here. What's your view? Okay, let's see here. Viking has a good question, and this will probably be the late question because I have to go to the gym. I got to make steak for my chick. All right, Viking Burial. Dude, I haven't been able to speak right for a while. I don't know. I'm not speaking right. Okay, here. What's your view on this new media, race-infused, fans-turned media appearing into boxing scenes, especially on YouTube? Who's your favorite working boxing journalist? Let's see here. Man, Jose Jose Ramirez. I don't think you're the Jose Ramirez fighter, but I am. Hey, where are you located? Because I need to remodel my parents' house. So I've been wanting to look for a guy to help remodel my parents' house. So let me know what's up, bro. Message us on the Fight Up account. All right, back to Viking. I don't like this whole race thing getting in boxing. I think it's a lot of race baiting, which I don't like. A lot of biasness. A lot of it's just bad, man. And I've always told people this, man. Like who you like a fighter because you like the way they fight. It doesn't matter where they're from. It's okay to support somebody that's your own, but don't be anti against them or anti against someone else because they're not of your nationality either. Support who you like because you like who they are. You like what they do outside of the ring, or you like their swag. You like how they knock the crap out of people. You like their style of fighting. Like them because you like them. Not just because they're of a certain nationality. And if they are a certain nationality, don't be anti them. It's okay to support you or your background or whoever you want to support. It's okay, but don't be anti against anyone else because of their certain race, religion, or creed. That's bad too. But I don't like it because the other thing that gets me back to what Ricardo had asked me is that you're seeing a lot of people who are fans. Granted, we're all fans, but a lot of people coming into this and starting to report and do video that don't come from traditional journalism backgrounds, and that's affecting the way they're presenting their content because they're presenting it in a slanted way. They're presenting it in a non-objective way or in a biased way. But it makes people in this space look bad because they clump us all together. It's not good. It's very divisive as well. And a lot of it, I don't like it. It's divisive stuff. With some of the stuff I've seen out there, and it's like it's reflective of the times that we live in too as well, because with all this fake news stuff that started out 4 years ago with Trump, when Trump came in, it's like it's trickled down into everything, and even with like the conspiracy theory is talk out there with a lot of stuff, and I'm not even referring to boxing stuff. I'm talking about the conspiracy theory stuff. Just in general, like with this Q shit, with the election was stolen, all this stuff. It seems that conspiracy-based content is on the rise in general, and it's trickled down to every fabric of our lives in terms of how we consume content. And a lot of bullshit out there. a lot of stuff that's not true. And I always tell people, obviously because I'm a content creator, okay. The conspiracy stuff, and this is not even about boxing. I'm saying in general, like with the Q stuff, with all this other stuff, But I do see it paralleling some of the stuff I see on YouTube. It's business. These people are in the business of keep creating talk of these conspiracies because you help them make money. It's in their prerogative to continue the talk, continue the belief of these conspiracies because they make money off of them. If a conspiracy gets debunked, they can't make content on the conspiracy anymore. They can't keep the chatter on the conspiracy anymore. That means no one's going to watch their videos anymore. No one's going to watch their content. You ever wonder on a lot of these videos why they have so many ads on there? Those ads aren't put there automatically by YouTube. The only ads that are automatically put on videos by YouTube is the ad at the beginning. All the other ads are put there manually by the content creator. You ever notice why at certain points there's ads put in some of those videos? Because we as content creators can go in and pick exactly at what point we want to put an ad. So when you're armed with that knowledge, and then you look back at some of that content, and you're like, what's the intent here? Why is it that there's so many ads on this thing? Why? Why is that? Because they're in it for money. That's the only reason why they're doing it. Their MO is to keep the conspiracy going because that's their business model. That's how they make money. And the moment that conspiracy gets debunked, thrown to the wayside, they can't make money anymore. All that content becomes unwatchable because it's been debunked, and they have to go in and create a new conspiracy or piggyback off of another one that they can create chatter about so they can get eyes on it, views on it, talk on it. So it's all, like you said, Jules, and conspiracies are designed to increase sales, but you see it trickling down into boxing too with some of the stuff that you see out there also as well. I could see through it, For granted, there's some stuff that I do believe, but 95% conspiracy theories are BS. They're BS. They're pure BS, man. They're pure BS. But in terms of and I went on a long tangent here, but in terms of what you're referring to too is, when you're seeing a lot of these people that haven't gone to journalism school, it kind of toxifies the whole spaces. It poisons the well because we get clumped and people don't take us seriously. The guys that do try to do their best to be down the middle, and obviously people fudge up, they mess up, and we try our best not to infuse opinion. And when we do infuse opinion, you're supposed to say, hey, disclaimer, this is my opinion, and we are allowed to have an opinion as well, but we try to not, in terms of when we're presenting something, the whole point is when we present something, the whole point when I interview someone is to not infuse my opinion. I want you guys to formulate your opinion on what they're saying. And that's the point of any news report that's being presented, is that you're leaving your viewer the option to formulate their own opinion on what's presented, as long as you presented both sides fair and objectively. And a lot of the stuff that's out there, man, is not that, because you have people that aren't coming from journalist backgrounds that don't know the difference. They just never went to school. So they're coming off with all these preconceived notions, these biases, these slants, these narratives, and they're putting out content that is not objective. And it's unfortunate because, like I mentioned, it makes everyone else look bad. That when you say to somebody that's not familiar with your content, hey, I run so-and-so YouTube channel, or this is for the so-and-so YouTube channel, and they've seen all this other stuff. They're like, no, I don't trust this guy. No, we're not going to grant you access to this guy. We're not going to grant you an interview with this guy. So that's my take on it, bro. It's it is what it is. And they're saying that media is never straight. There is a grain of truth to that. There's always going to be interest in, and this is not even a boxing thing anymore. This is just in general. Okay. There's always going to be an interest in these companies, an outside interest, because at the end of the day, these news organizations are owned by people, by companies, and they're public. And the main purpose of a public company is to make profit, to answer to the shareholders and make their shareholders happy for profit. So there's always going to be an outside potential for outside influence. It all comes down to how the organization is ran, as well, and the editors that are in place, also. But hey, even those companies mess up all the time. The thing is they fess up to their mess up, and they put a disclaimer out there or a retraction, and then they go about trying to report as objectively as possible. And hey, look, I go through this all the time with my best friend, guys. My best friend is a diehard Trump supporter. He loves Trump. He thinks Trump is the greatest thing that's ever been created on this earth. He's super Trump, and it drives me nuts, man. It drives me freaking. I just don't understand. I don't understand how he can be like that, But he's been a lifelong conservative, and it hasn't affected our friendship. We're still best friends. I'd still mess up a mofo for him in a heartbeat. And he would do the same for me. But we get into it with arguments over this stuff, and he'll tell me, hey, bro, he'll send me a link to an article, and it's from like a Newsmax. It's from like a Breitbart. And I'm like, bro, that's not an objective outlet, and there's this, and if you guys want to, if you really, maybe you fall into this path, and even if you are a Trump supporter, I don't really care, bro, because at the end of the day, you treat me with respect, I'm going to treat you with respect, unless you want to kick out Mexicans, and then we got a problem, because I'm Mexican and my parents were undocumented, and I feel like I've contributed a lot to society, and a lot of majority of undocumented people contribute to the United States in general, but there's a list out there. It's called Media Bias Chart, okay? And it ranks all the news organizations. And I showed this to him. I showed this to all my friends that send me crap from these super far right-wing outlets, okay? And even super far left-wing, it goes both ways. Because CNN could be very liberally biased. Don Lemon, super biased. Cuomo, super biased. But here's the difference. Their shows are opinion shows. They're not reporting. Their opinion shows, same with that dumb little nerd, freaking Tucker Max or whatever the heck his name is. He has an opinion show, okay? There's a difference between reporting and opinion shows. But that media bias chart shows what outlets are far right, what outlets are far left, what outlets are in the middle. NPR, PBS, BBC, in the middle, not objective, especially BBC. BBC doesn't have a dog in the fight, Yeah, I know, right? Tucker, whatever the hell his name is, isn't a reliable source. So I know, right? No, you'd be surprised, bro. You'd be freaking surprised. Over the weekend, I got told again that Trump is the greatest president we've ever had in the history of the United States. And I just was dumbfounded. But there's people that think that, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, bro. You're entitled to your opinion. That's cool. But I just don't see how people can say that. And I told him this. Bro, I vehemently disagree with you on that. And he gave me this look. Why? And I'm like, bro, this guy Trump has done more to divide us as Americans than any other freaking person in the last 4 years, dog. And he did nothing to unite the country. He let it run rampant. He allowed it. Okay. He could have tried to at least bring people together, but he was divisive. He allowed people that had very minimal voices, okay, come to the forefront. He made being racist okay again. He emboldened them, And I'm going on a little rant here, but man, he did a lot of divisive stuff, man. That I just had to tell him like, no, you're full of shit. You were crazy. Viking, what's up? You need to do more of these YouTube lives, dude. Bro, we do these every Monday. Every Monday at 5:35, dog. Every Monday at 5:35, we do these lives. So mark it on your calendar. We do it every Monday. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to already. Like this stream. Let's get to 100 likes. Share it as well. You need to do more of these YouTube live. Bring more interviews live. Answer more questions. Replace those other fake media who's cashing in on the divide. Yeah, I'm working on doing live interviews as well. I'm actually reached out to somebody, and that's been a plan for us to do live interviews with the people that we go ahead and interview. Matt says, you blame Trump. I blame the media. No, the media played a huge part in this. CNN, huge part. Fox News, huge part. They all are complicit in this. Want to know why? Each media outlet has a choice of what to put out on their airways, what not. They legitimized Trump, all these networks. They legitimized him at the very beginning when he ran 4 years ago. When he was saying all that crazy-ish about Mexicans and all the crazy stuff that he said after. And that's where Trump lost me. He lost me already because I'm a progressively liberal guy. I agree with a lot of conservative stuff, but I agree with a lot of liberal type stuff. It sounds cliche, but for the most part, I'm in the middle. Okay. When he came out with Mexicans or criminals and rapists and people from these Latin American countries, that they're refugees, even though they might not seem that way. They're economic refugees from their failed states, because if their stuff in their country were going well, they would not come here. And you can't blame a person who has a terrible life for wanting to make the trek over here to change their life. If the United States was a role reversal with Mexico, and Mexico was a prosperous country, we'd all be going to Mexico. We would all be running to Mexico. So you can't ever blame someone for wanting to change your life, even if it's legal or illegal. So at the end of the day, how could someone be illegal? A person be illegal? Dude, we're people. We belong to Earth. Like, yeah, that might sound like a very naive way to look at it, but at times it doesn't make sense to me. How can you tell someone that they're not allowed to be somewhere when, like, this planet is for us? But he lost me immediately when he said that. I took such offense to that because my parents were undocumented. My dad was an orphan in Mexico. I know the struggle that he went through to get to this country. It's not an easy struggle. These people that are leaving their countries, they don't want to leave their countries, but they have to, because either their life's at risk, or they're so destitute, so desperate to change their life, they're willing to get smuggled by coyotes, go on these railroad tracks or these rail cars that they're going to get mugged, murdered, raped, potentially, okay, just for a chance to get a second chance. And it's the other thing, man. This is a country that's been built by immigrants. America is immigrants. That's our competitive edge in America, is immigrants. We welcome everybody. We get the best of the best. Immigrants built America. And, I just don't get it. And it's just when he started saying all this stuff, man, when he started saying all this stuff, especially with the undocumented, I'm like, if Trump had his way, I wouldn't be here in the United States. He would have sent my dad back. And I look at the good that I've been able to do so far. And I know I'm on a rant here, and someone's like, Joe's like, I'll get back to boxing. I'm going to leave it at this. I like to think that I've helped out a lot of people in this industry. Okay. I've got into it with a lot of people, but I've also helped a lot of people and given people, employed people, jobs, their big breaks, okay? Advice. I've helped out a lot of people in the short time that I've been here on this earth. And I always think, if they would have had their way, I would have never been able to have a chance to do the good that sometimes I get down about, because I feel that given my time, I should have done a lot more than what I've done, you know? And it's like, now you take that, you see in a small example in me or anybody, you know, and you see the good that people could do. And it's, you know, I just, you're taking away so many talented people that could be contributing to the country. And I'll just leave it at that, you know, I'll just leave it at that. Because you know, I don't want to turn this into a politics thing. You know, you know, this is a boxing thing. I love boxing. I'm passionate about boxing, but that's one thing that sometimes I do get passionate about, is because, you know, my father was an undocumented person, you know, and he told me, you know, his story about how he got over to the country, and it's just like, well, dude, if he would have came now, you know, like I would have never had the opportunity, the chance to be a productive U.S. citizen, you know. And I love this country so much, man, because it's given me everything. You know, I'm a product of government programs. A lot of you guys don't know this, but, and I haven't shared. I don't like sharing this, you know, but you know, my dad couldn't work for a long time, disabled. We had to go on welfare. I was on welfare for a majority of my life. Food stamps. These government programs, I know they people take advantage of them, but there are people that really do need them. They helped me out. You know, I benefited from them. And my mom was a not single working mom, but my mom had to take care of my dad and then take care of us, have a job, didn't know English, you know, so it was hard for her. She needed help. She got on her feet, ended up getting a job, a good job for the time, you know, but they didn't have money to send me to college. What sent me to college? Government programs. The government paid for my college to go to college. Look what happened. I got a 4-year degree, and then I got a pretty good job, and then I ended up doing this. You know, I created jobs. So that just shows you like what people from these countries can do. They contribute. They contribute. They make a difference. All right, guys. Went on a little tangent there. 7:30. I gotta go to the gym, and yeah, just be grateful, guys, that we're here, regardless of how divisive the country is now. It's still the greatest country in the world. It still provides opportunities more than any other country in the world. Be good to each other, man, because at the end of the day, we're all people. And I've always followed this golden rule. Talk to people the way you would like someone to talk to you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And it's really the way you talk to somebody in order to navigate difficult situations, you know? So I'll leave you guys with that. All right, guys. Youngster, what's up? Thanks for that super chat donation. Trump supports talk, all that stuff online until they get punched in the face. NJP, what's up, bro? Thanks for sharing, Marcos. I think that's why some subs relate to you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna go to the gym now and cook my mi vieja un steak. All right, guys, peace out. Let's get some more likes. I'm gonna give you guys this link right now. Please share this, guys. Spend some good time on it. It's the best moments that we've witnessed. Share this, watch it if you didn't watch already. Subscribe to the channel. Tell people to subscribe to the channel. Tell people to come to these lives next Monday, 5:35. We're going to go ahead and do it again, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Peace out. Be good to each other, man. That's all I can leave you with is be good with each other, and, you know, appreciate your parents, because some point they won't be around, and you'll really miss them. So peace out, guys.